Hi, Stamper fans. Welcome to Make It With Me. Thanks for joining me, whether you're catching me live or you're watching the replay on YouTube. I'm very happy you're here. I'm Nan, and I help people get creative, slow down, and stay connected, whether that's making handmade things together or you sharing a handmade card with someone. So let's make something fun today. Whoops. There we go. Hello. Okay, so just relax and follow along. I have posted the measurements in the description, so if you want to play along with me, you can. If you want to just watch the first time and then watch a replay and make something with me along the second time, feel free. All right, so today I am making a simple phone fold, and these are so easy, like you're going to be making them all the time. It's one of my go-tos. I'm using the Forever Florals Bundle, and wow, totally lost my train of thought there, guys. Yeah, I'm using the Forever Florals Bundle for my card. You can use whatever you have on hand. I got this bundle early because I'm a demonstrator, but it will be available to everyone starting tomorrow, March 3rd. Okay. So there are some fun little surprises with this bundle, as well as a lot of versatility. So we'll show some of that tonight. But let's start with our card. All right. So the base of our card it's going to be a regular size card, but instead of half, the short way in half, I cut the cardstock the long way in half. So it is 11 inches by 4 1/4. All right. You're going to take your trimmer and you're going to score this at the 5 1/2 inch mark. So basically just in half, right? So if you were to fold this, it's the same size as any of the other cards that I normally make. It just opens this way instead of the other way, right? Okay, so let's give this a good burnish with our bone folder. Now, the next thing you're going to do, open it back up, and you're going to cut off half of the front. So that is at 2 3/4. Save that piece. We are going to use it. Okay. Where am I? Here we are. So the layer on the left is going to be 4 by 2 1/2. All right. So we'll have a little border all around the edge, right? We can go ahead and stick that on right now. So actually, I know if you've been watching me for a hot second, you've noticed that I've used a lot of liquid glue lately. I've kind of become a convert. But I will say one thing. If you tend to make some mistakes and have to peel your cardstock back off or move it over or whatever, your Stampin' Seal is going to be better for that, because this, I could peel that back off. Liquid glue, man, once it is dried for a second, forget it. You're starting over if you made a mistake. It does allow wiggle room, which is great. So it's just kind of a matter of personal preference and also your stamping style. So, all right. So I am using Petunia Pop and Pretty in Pink tonight, which are two of the in colors that are going to be leaving us at the end of April. So I did kind of want to feature those. So if you've forgotten about those in the last couple of years, now would be a good time to remember, because those particular things tend to sell out, especially like re-inkers and Stampin' Pads and things like that. So if you want to review the colors that are going away, it is the 2024 through 2026 in colors. And on my shop, you can actually shop by color. And so you can go see that whole collection. And if there's colors or, one or more in particular you like, you can go ahead and grab everything now before the rush. Okay, let's see here. So now you're going to grab that front piece that you cut off, right? And I'm going to wrap mine in a little piece of white ribbon. So it's just going to need to be a little wider than, or a little longer than that is wide. I'm going to use my tear and tape to put my ribbon on. I think you know, again, if you follow me at all, you know that's my preferred way to adhere ribbon, because when you tear off the backing, it also adheres, it kind of sandwiches your ribbon between adhesive and cardstock, right? So it's going to give a stronger hold to that bump right there that's going to naturally try to pull away from the cardstock. But you can always just use like a plain Scotch tape and tape those ends on the back because you're not going to see it, and then just use your regular adhesive. It's fine. So now we're going to put this piece on the card. So basically it came off of here. You're just going to flip it sideways and adhere it right back to the card. Okay. So you're only going to want to put adhesive on the left side. Otherwise your card will stay closed and will not open. So what I like to do in that case is I like to flip it over and put it pretty much where I want it. And then I know, okay, I'm just going to put adhesive over here. So I'm going to put a little bit between those strips of tear and tape. And then I can just pull those backings off. And now I've got adhesive kind of, you know, a little rectangle of adhesive, right? We're just going to center that on there. And there we go. And one of the nice things about this is that you can also have your card going forward. I'm doing mine sideways, but you can do yours lengthwise as well. So either way, this technique will work. All right, let's do a little stamping, a little decorating. So I like to decorate the two corners of the inside of mine because those are going to show, since this is only partially covering, right? So one of the little surprises I found with this stamp set is that there's some two-step stamping possibilities, right? Let's see, I think I've got all of my blocks all lined up here. So I've got this little leaf here, and these little lines actually make the veins in that leaf. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that in pretty in pink, right down in those corners. You could do all four corners if you want. Two of them are going to show, so that's all I'm doing for now. And then I've got the little veins on the other side, so we're going to grab the petunia pop. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love that I can grab petunia pop cardstock and pretty in pink cardstock, and then the inks in those two colors, and know that everything's going to go together. So nice, and like really helps my overthinking, right? You don't have to figure out what goes with it. All right, so this piece is then going to go on the inside, always with the adhesive on my fresh, clean sheet. I will forget about that, and I will later put a project right on top of it. Okay, so I'm just going to center that in the middle, and then when we close it, you have this pretty white border with these two pretty leaves peeking out. Love it. Okay, so now we need to do our sentiment. We need to add some flowers. Let's get that going. The other thing, this is one of those cards, by the way, people, that if you have somebody you don't know very well, or perhaps you're grudgingly sending a card to, so you don't have a lot to write, there's not a lot of stamping or a writing room because only this part is covered up. So you're not going to want to write over the entire thing, right? So there's less space. See, I'm always here for you. So we are going to, we're going to say, you're on my mind, and then on the inside, and in my heart. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the in my heart on the inside in our petunia pop. And that will be covered up by our front. So see, I've even given you less room to write now. I'm going to take just a scrap piece of white. We'll do our front sentiment. And we've got a bunch of flowers here. I'm going to stamp that a couple of times in the pretty in pink. And then the cool thing was, I thought these dots were just kind of like, you know, texture, because a lot of stamp sets have like little dots or hashtaggy kind of, you know, things. No, no, no. They are perfectly aligned to make the centers to these flowers. So I'm going to take my dots. We're going to put them in petunia. I believe it's this way. So there's kind of like a row of 3 and row of 3 and then 2. So that is how I figure it out. And what I normally do is try to line up this dot and the opposite corner dot. And I know if I have those two aligned, then the rest of them will line up perfectly. I love when Stampin' Up! Has our back. We just do coordination of all sorts of things so well. See, I already forgot I had that little bit of adhesive there. I'll have to get my adhesive remover out afterwards and clear that up so I don't keep sticking things in it. Okay, so that is all of our stamping tonight. So I'm going to close these up so I don't get ink all over. I sound like a hot mess, don't I? I'm really not. I mean, you know, somewhat, but not really. Okay, so we're going to grab our dies here. Now, I have mentioned before that I put my dies on a magnetic sheet. It's just easier for me. They don't come this way, so you would have to get your own, but I just keep reusing them as I get rid of dies. I pull them off those magnet sheets and keep reusing them. So we are going to use, I've already die cut one of these labels. We're going to use another label, and then we've got this guy that'll punch out those flowers. So we've got the skinnier label, we've got the flowers die. Let's do it. I got my mini out tonight. So I had class here last Friday, and hilarious. I had 3 people come on Friday to have fun with me, and all 3 of them were left-handed. What are the odds of that even? I'm right-handed, so, you know, everything in my studio is set up for right-handedness. There's not really a lot that's problem for that, but in this particular case, we were die cutting things, and my die cut machine has the handle on the right-hand side. So once I figured out they were all left-handers, I switched it around so it was on the left side, so it was easier for them. But then I had to keep trying to crank things through. And I said, man, I'm like feeling kind of how you guys are going through the world, because I'm having trouble. I got through it though. All right. So our little You Were On My Mind. Now, with photopolymer stamps like we're using tonight, they're see-through, right? They're clear. So you could totally cut this label out first and then stamp your sentiment on it. I tend to like to stamp first and cut after, because then I know exactly, I can kind of center that that die on it and really get it where I want it. That is kind of a personal preference, but perfect, love it. And then the flowers though, because this is going to cut out exactly the flowers, you really do have to kind of stamp them first. I can't imagine trying to line these up after you've cut out a piece already. I'm sure it could be done, but why give yourself the headache? So we have 1 and 2. And again, this one's pretty easy to line up because it does have kind of that bump out of 2 flowers in that last row. It's pretty easy to figure out exactly how it goes. All right. It's very funny to me that I start out with everything being very compact and very organized. And then as I'm talking to you and doing things, I'm just like throwing things all over. So I have a much wider swath to clean up when we're done. Okay, let's go ahead and assemble our sentiment layer. So for this, what's really nice is, you know, you've got this nice kind of a bit of a point over here on each side, and this longer one will actually fit right in there. So it's very easy to line up. All right, now I'm going to grab my liquid glue though, because these flowers, I'm just going to kind of frame that sentiment. So I only want adhesive on kind of that inside bit, right? So we'll do one up here. We'll do one in the lower right. Perfect. And we'll attach them with dimensionals. Because as my class attendees asked me on Friday, don't all cards have dimensionals? I'm like, yes, the majority of my cards do. So such an easy way to boost things, right? To just give it a little more panache. And also, whenever I am adhering anything that hangs off like that, if I'm putting dimensionals on, I tend to bridge that from the bottom layer to the other thing that's just hanging off the edge. It gives it a little extra security. So I don't know if it really makes a difference. It makes me feel better. So I feel like a double layer of adhesive is always good. All right, so we will pop that on. So that's going to straddle our ribbon a little bit, and there you go. A beautiful, I think it's called a half front card, but seriously, how easy is that fun fold? Because you're really just using a regular card base, chopping off half the front and turning it. Now, if you, I have options. So if you don't have a die cut machine, I've got an option for you as well. So that's this one. We have this. Now, when I step up or step down a card, a friend had told me take away or add 3 things. So that's what I did. I took away the dimensionals, I took away the die cuts, and I took away the ribbon. So all I used was a piece of basic white, just a little strip of cardstock to act as that ribbon. Took away the die cuts and just cut rectangles and stamped those flowers right over the sentiment. Everything else is exactly the same. This is flat to it instead of the dimensionals. So there's one of them. Now, if you wanted to go this version, but hey, I like to use all my toys. So you want to step it up, we're going to add 3 things to that. So what I decided to add was an embossing folder. I added some shimmery cardstock and some embellishments. So we've got a cool embossing folder here, which I believe is the Beautiful Patterns. This is a shimmery cardstock that we have, and these gorgeous little white gems. So there is your stepped up version. Actually, the shimmery one is called Pastel Shimmers, and it comes, this is actually Bubble Bath, and then it comes in this Lemon Lolly as well, and it is 2-sided, so same on both sides. And then I think that's probably Lost Lagoon, but let me double check. Nope, Pool Party. Bubble Bath, Lemon Lolly, and Pool Party. So how pretty is that? And I actually had forgotten I had this, so I finally sliced into it for this card. I will be using a lot more of that now that it's almost springtime. I think we're like 18 days away, so thank goodness. Okay, So now, if you crafted along with me and yours looks a little different, that is absolutely fine. Okay. There's no wrong answers, right? Everybody has their own way of doing things. And if yours looks a little different, that's perfect. Okay, this bundle I am also featuring in this month's class, which is March 27th. So if you're local to Bloomington, definitely keep an eye out for that event. I'll be posting that this week. And I will also be sharing the details as far as the link to that in this week's email. So if you are not on my email list already, first of all, what are you waiting for? Second of all, you can get, my free weekly emails at stampernan.com. That has actually all of my links. So if you want to follow me on the socials or anything like that, you can do that there. All right. So now that you've made this card, don't stop. Think about the perfect person that would love to receive it in their mailbox. Get out the envelope, address it, get that stamp on, and send it out this week. You are going to make somebody smile and feel like, oh, that was so nice of her to think of me. All right. So thanks so much for spending part of your day with me. I hope you'll take what we made today and turn it into a card that you'll actually send. Now, like I said, I'll put more details in the links in Tuesday's email, and I'll see you again soon. Happy stamping.